In Sam's dream world, there was no celebrating. Nothing was ever done enough. Always more could be done. So,
what kind of childhood did this guy have?
His mother wrote a letter where she talked a little about how he doesn't feel happiness. She doesn't think he's ever felt or is capable of feeling happiness. I don't know. Michael Lewis talked a little bit about his childhood. I never talked to him about his childhood or anything like that. So.
Did you ever deal with his mother?
A little bit. She's more similar to Sam, I think. Like, I'm not the type of person she enjoys being around. I don't want to sit down and have a 4-hour intellectual conversation where I try to prove that I'm smarter than you. That's not my idea of a good time. So, we'd interact, but I think she didn't love social settings or like at least someone like me. So not much.
She sounds awful.
Yeah. I didn't know her that well. She's like an ethics professor and her son goes and does something like this. I mean, you gotta have a few question marks there.
Yeah, I think you do. A lot of this was playing out against the backdrop of the 2020 election.
Yep.
So what do they think of Trump? What do they think of Biden?
His mother was very involved in getting Biden elected, I believe. I'd heard stories about it. I think Mind the Gap did a lot, and I might be wrong on this. I think Mind the Gap did a lot in Georgia that ultimately flipped it blue for Biden.
Oh.
So yeah, I think that's true. I'm not 100% sure.
Mrs. Bankman-Fried, the ethics professor, is using money. I mean, because she's not independently rich, right?
No, I don't. Not what Sam was.
Right. Did any of Sam's money go to that effort, do you think?
Yes. Yeah. I think Sam wired 10, 20 million, maybe more.
Interesting, to get Biden elected, but he's not facing any campaign finance charges.
No, he didn't get hit with the campaign finance.
This story, man. You get into the details. What did they think of Trump?
They did not like Trump.
Oh.
They had this wild idea to try to pay him off to not run. And I just said, I don't want to be a part of that.
Wait, what?
I think it's quoted in some news. They had this idea to try to pay him $5 billion to not run.
Who's they?
Him and his brother Gabe. And there was like more of these sort of EA political strategist people.
That would be election interference and bribery, as far as I know.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in it.
Are they facing charges for that?
No.
Oh, because I think in a first world country, bribing people in the political system, including not to run, would be a felony, like a major felony. That would be subverting democracy, I think would be the term we'd use.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but no charges there. Yeah. Interesting. Were you aware of that at the time?
It had come up, and I just said, I don't want to be a part of this. Or, please. I also wanted him to win, so I'm not, I want him involved.
Did they know that you disagreed politically?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was part of, I don't want to make this out like I had no association with them at all. Like, Gabe got me excited about the pandemic work.
Right.
And so I got involved on the pandemic work. That's not illegal.
Yeah.
So I was aware of some of the stuff that was going on, but not most of the behind the scenes stuff, right? I wasn't an EA. I was never in the EA world. I even sort of publicly mocked the EA. So
you really didn't like EA.
I didn't. There were a few of us that really didn't. The only thing I liked about EA was it would bring workers in that worked 24/7 because they had a higher purpose. Like, there was a higher purpose to why they were working. And so they wouldn't get burned out as easily. So that was the only thing I liked. When EA started working, they worked 24/7, 365.
It just, the personality type seems so kind of classic early Bolshevik to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're bringing about utopia in the world, so actual people don't matter. You're involved in something much larger than yourself, so it gives purpose and a framework to your life.
Yeah.
It inspired, the early Bolsheviks worked like animals.
Yeah.
They did, to their great credit. They were really hard workers.
Yeah. And when it's written on paper, it doesn't sound as bad as it turns out.
No, right. Well, that's exactly right. As you noted, socialism doesn't say,
Yeah.
Everyone's equal. What's wrong with equality? Nothing.
Even Sam's whole thing, like on paper, it all sounded fine. In the end, millions of people lost all their money.
Right.
Right.
Better than
not
the Ukraine
funny,
famine, but still, it's a branch of the same tree. So Did Sam ever decide that he'd made enough money to start giving it away?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there was, I think in his mind, well, sorry, let me caveat that. In his mind, some of the political work he was doing was giving it away to these bigger initiatives. So I think that was sort of a little bit, but no, not to the tune of what you'd expect from someone who that's their ideology.
So it sounds like the Bankman-Frieds helped get Joe Biden elected in 2020.
For sure. I mean, Sam was one of the largest Democratic donors.
This whole conversation is just me trying to make you feel even worse about what happened to you. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just shocked by it. Actually, I shouldn't be. But they were definitive players in a contested election that I don't think, for the record, once again, sorry, YouTube, was legitimate. I don't think that. This is another example of how it was illegitimate. But whether you believe the results or not, they were huge players in getting Joe Biden elected. And you're the one who's facing prison for campaign finance violations.
That's correct, yes.
I mean, that's just absolutely nuts. Did, when they mentioned paying off Trump $5 billion not to run, do you know if anyone approached Trump or the campaign about this?
I don't know. You never knew if they were just spitting out wacky ideas. I mean, I think they also had this idea to buy like an island and try to make it like just their laws and their rules. You know, it's just like they always had these crazy things. You never knew how real something was or what was just.
What would their rules be on Bankman-Fried Island?
I do not want to know.
Pretty weird, right?
Yeah.
He was vegan?
He was vegan. Yep.
Why?
Animal cruelty. He didn't like the idea of an animal suffering or...
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I think is definitely... He's stayed vegan now, right? He's slimming away to nothing in prison. So, a lot of people said his whole EA thing was fake. At least the veganism, I would say, is real, because now would be the time to drop the stick if it wasn't.
Well, from your description, it sounds like the opposite of fake. It sounds like a sincere, deeply held religious belief. It sounds like a cult. It sounds totally real.
Yeah.
Did you think it was real at the time?
I think it was real. There's, I think, a public perception in the world it was all just a show that he put on to try to raise more money, but I don't believe that. I think he genuinely...
One of the mysteries for me as a total outsider watching this, from afar, is how investors could meet Sam Bankman-Fried, who was like a child rocking back and forth, jumpy, stinky, wearing cargo shorts, and think, I need to give that guy money.
Yeah. I mean, I can knock that. I was enthralled by him when I met him. I mean, there's something about his work ethic, the way he describes things. He can sort of bring you into the way he sees or feels about things. He had a track record for a long time of being very right about things. There's this kind of world where there's like idealized sort of central figures at companies.
Yes.
And they're either wildly successful or not, right? Not is Sam Bankman-Fried, Elizabeth Holmes, is Elon Musk or, Sam Altman or Steve Jobs, right? So there's this sort of central tech single person that you follow and have a lot of faith in concept that pays off handsomely or it doesn't. And it seems to really only go one way or the other. So I think everyone's trying to find that next Elon Musk, and Sam had a ish vibe that it could be him.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.